Folks, I find it a pleasure to have an opportunity to be with you today. And I'm Richard Walker. And I want to thank you for allowing me to have an opportunity to have a few moments with you. And I guess the first thing I need to do is identify, who am I? Well, I've retired from the medical field, and I got my medical field career started while attending Indiana University, and I majored in allied health. From there, I went on and worked with pathology laboratories and national and international company of GlaxoSmithKline Clinical Laboratory Division. And from there, as I mentioned, I took my retirement. But while involved in the medical field and even following my retirement, I've traveled in 12 different countries, both in Western Europe and Asia. And along the way, I've worked with different languages. My lectures, which there are 17, are sponsored by Home Choice Network, where we believe in independence for seniors and peace of mind for families. This is a home care agency which is licensed by the state of North Carolina and regulated by the Department of Health and Human Services out of Raleigh, North Carolina. We have existed for over 16 years. And by the way, before I forget, I have held the position of president of Toastmasters International Club of the Sandhills. This is a worldwide organization dedicated to public speaking and leadership development. Now, I'd mentioned I've had several lectures. Well, the lecture I'm going to give today, I have given on several occasions, and it's been well received. The title is Balancing Our Lives as We Age, or the Art of Positive Thinking. In order for us to balance our lives, we must think on a positive basis and have a positive attitude. If the wheel works, why reinvent the wheel? Now, why have I said that? Well, it comes to mind to me that if someone has said something of importance and of value, it doesn't hurt to repeat it, and it doesn't hurt to learn from other folks. So let's take Socrates. Now, we all know Socrates lived quite a while ago, but he had a lot of wisdom to share, even today from so many years ago. And one of the things that in Plato's Republic, Socrates had stated, I enjoy talking with very old people. They have gone before us on a road which we too may have to travel. And I think we do well to learn from them what it is like. And I recall when I was a small child, oftentimes I would ask my parents, hey, can I go over and see my neighbor Hinton? Uh, Hinton was his name. And he was old, but I thought, I need to listen to him and see what he has to say. What has he learned in his life, and what may I learn by listening to him? So oftentimes I went over and visited with my neighbor. By the way, I was raised on a dairy farm, so wasn't a whole lot of folks around, so I enjoyed visiting with him. But let's go back to thinking positive. We must seek knowledge and not only learn from others, but we need to learn about ourselves. For example, Joseph Conrad in Victory once said, woe to the man whose heart has not learned while young to hope, to love, to put its trust in life. For example, I also read a book known as, title was Aging Well by George Vaillant. And I obtained more wisdom when I read, adding to life years, not just more years to life. Now, I think that is very, very important. We don't need to worry about and just go along and add life to years. but we need to add the value of life to the years that we have. So let us take, for example, Peter Pan and the positive attitude that people need to have with their life. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever, ever be able to fly. But Peter Pan, as far as he was concerned, he had no doubt he was going to fly anyway. I don't know if you've seen the movie Shawshank Redemption or not, but it's a very good movie. And it's about these two individuals that are in prison. And it's about an individual who really was innocent when he was placed in prison. And the innocent prisoner was Tim Robbins. And he spoke to Morgan Freeman. And he said, we either get busy living or we get busy dying. So he made the decision to do the impossible, escaped, and went to Mexico. He had decided to go forward one way or the other and find life. I am sure you've all heard about Anne Frank's diary. Well, we also know that the Nazis finally caught up with Anne Frank and she lost her life. But she was not willing to give up until the very last moment. And she made a statement in her diary. Think of all the beauty still around you and be happy. That's what we have to do each and every day. I can't make you folks happy, and you can't make me happy. It's up to us. Life is what you make it. We can be positive even when we think we cannot be happy. For example, Mary Kay Ash. Now, she was the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics. I'm sure you ladies in particular have heard all about Mary Kay and her cosmetics. Well, Mary Kay used to say, aerodynamically, the bumblebee should not be able to fly. But guess what? The bumblebee doesn't know that, so he goes on flying anyway. I do love poetry, so I'd like to read a poem. It's called The Builder. I saw them tearing a building down, a team of men in my hometown, with a heave and a hoe and a yes, yes yell. They swung a beam and a sidewall fell. And I said to the foreman, are these men skilled like the ones you'd use if you had to build? And he laughed and he said, oh, no, no, indeed. The most common labor is all I need. For I can destroy in a day or two what makes and takes a builder 10 years to do. So I thought to myself as I went on my way, which one of these roles am I willing to play? And my one who is tearing down as I carelessly make my way around? Or am I one who builds with care in order to make the world a little better because I was there? You see, we can do more for ourselves and for each other. Just take that extra step to make the difference. So let's define a little more specifically. What is positive thinking? Well, finding success in what we do, no matter how small, can make a difference. And as we make that success day by day, or sometimes moment by moment, we're going to feel better. It's going to be, on a positive basis. Having self-confidence will give us inner strength. We must enhance our lives on a daily basis. To think positive allows us to have peace of mind. Being positive gives us self-contentment. Now, how can I think positive? It's easier said than done. Yes, but we have to make that effort. First, you must believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, why should you expect others to believe in you? So first, let us believe in ourselves. So how can we best do that? By learning to analyze ourselves. Think about, okay, how am I living day to day? How am I dressing? Am I dressed according to whether I'm going to go to church or whether I'm just going to relax around the house? But what's my appearance? Am I satisfied with my appearance? How do I come across to others? Sometimes we don't realize how we come across to others. So we need to analyze ourselves. How do I come across to others? And am I initiating a conversation when I meet a stranger? I know one time I thought I would just try a little psychology, and I was walking down the street and I didn't have a frown, but I didn't have a smile. And I noticed about 95% of the people were the same. They were just walking down the street facing me. And I thought, I'm going to try an experiment. So I started saying, hello, good morning. How are you folks today? Isn't it a beautiful day? It's nice that we have a sunny day today. And greeting people on a positive basis, I wanted to see what would happen. And do you know, well over 90% of the folks responded to me with a smile and an air of cheerfulness in their voice. That's what I mean. It's up to us to make the world a better place to live in. And we can do that each and every day. And if you think, well, I don't know, I might make a mistake if I step out and I try this or try that. Well, don't worry about a mistake. That's okay. We all make them. So it's through failure that we find success. You have a chance to learn from your mistakes. We need to always realize and keep in mind that we are all brothers and sisters. We are equals within this family of humanity. For example, you might think, well, it's difficult to take this challenge or that challenge. Well, yes, but you have to take the first step. It's like climbing a mountain. How are you going to get to the top? By taking the first step. And you know what? You're going to find that the second step is easier than you thought it would be. Now, Oliver Goldsmith, and I've said his statement that I'm going to give to you folks in a moment so many times to myself as I've gone throughout life. And by the way, I'm 78, so I'm not so young, but I think I'm like 34 or 40. I refuse to think that I'm old. Chronologically, I guess I am, but I believe in having a young, active spirit. So Oliver Goldsmith said, and he was an Irish novelist in the 1700s, he said, I can't do everything, but I can do something, and I will not let that which I cannot do interfere with that of which I can. Now that says a lot. I remember when I went into a laboratory one time and had to turn on what they call an SMA machine. It was a chemical machine, sequential multiple analyzer. And I thought I'm going to have a PhD just how to turn this on. And the next thing I know, I was running it. But what did I do the first day I went there? I thought, well, at least I can sweep the floor. At least I can organize some of the samples and specimens that they were bringing into the laboratory. I can do the basics. And then I'll step forward and learn more each and every day. Now, talk about failure. Harry Truman has gone down in history as one of our better presidents. But he was a failure as a haberdasher, which was selling hats and men's clothing. And he was a failure with the farm that he inherited from his father. But that didn't stop him. As far as he was concerned, I can do something and do it good. And he used to, so it's been said, stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, reading over legislature from the Congress, whether he was going to approve or disapprove some law that they were wanting to pass. He was willing to work and go forward. So what did Harry Truman do? He did the same thing that we must learn to do. He took control of his life. And when you take control of your life, what are you doing? Well, you're controlling your attitude. You're controlling your efforts. you're controlling your actions. And that can make all the difference. And talking about making all the difference, that's why Robert Frost, in his one poem, stated it very, very clearly. And I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So, what are we saying did Robert Frost actually do when he took the road less traveled by? What we're saying is he had problems, but he took those with the attitude of challenges and opportunities. He focused on solutions instead of complaining about maybe how difficult the road was that he took on a less traveled road. He decided to accept the challenge that was before him and not look at it as a problem, but an opportunity and challenge as well. And I'm sure you've heard folks say, I don't like change. Well, I understand that. A lot of people don't like change, but have you ever met an individual who was involved in a change that didn't end up being positive and therefore most certainly did like the positive change that took place? So change most certainly can be positive. It depends on how you look at it and the steps that you take. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our 32nd president, he had a big challenge. But like he told the American people, the only fear we have is fear itself. In other words, we're going to go forward. We're going to make it happen. And understanding the reality of life and your reality in life plays a very key role in how we can go forward. We must realize that a successful and happy life equals balance. You know, at the start of my lecture, I talked about balance and age. Well, that's very important for us to keep in mind. We have to understand what is our life all about with balance. For example, it's quite simple and we don't think much about it. East and west. Hey, opposite, but it's balanced, just like north and south. Hot and cold. Well, the balance there is warm. Good and bad, or like they say in Asia, yin and yang. This is the balance of justice. Life and death is the balance of living. And it's the now that we have that is the balance of life and death. Yesterday's gone. We can't do anything about that. That's gone. What about tomorrow? I don't know what's going to take place tomorrow, but I do know what's taking place now. I'm in the now, and that's what counts and allows me to understand the value of balance. Now, it is key to understand, as I mentioned, the balance within our life. And if we didn't have death, we wouldn't understand the true value of life. It's like having thirst. If you're never thirsty, how are you going to enjoy and really know what a value is in a nice, cool drink of water to quench the thirst? So, as we understand balance around us and balance within our lives, we need to realize that in a book that I read, and I mentioned earlier, Aging Well, that balance requires change. I would like to state from the Ovid Metamorphosis, my intention is to tell of bodies changed to different forms, the heavens and all below them, earth and her creatures, all change, and we, part of creation, also must suffer change. Now, I'll throw out a little bit of philosophy or my own personal belief. I do believe in a higher power. I really do. And that higher power I identify as God. And I accept his son, Jesus, as my Lord. Now, there are other folks who may believe in Allah, Yahweh, or Ra. It all depends on the culture, where you were born, and the era that you were raised in. But that higher power, I believe, is in with all of us, within all of us, most certainly. And thus, I let that higher power within me guide and support me. I have learned to listen to my inner voice. As Basil King, a Canadian born clergyman and writer in the 1800s, once said, "Behold, and mighty forces will come to your aid." Now, I've got a poem that I'd like to give you. I've got a couple here, and then we are going to wind down these last few moments with the lecture. But the poem goes like this: when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure turn about when we might have won had we stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. Now, I'd like to leave you with one more poem. It's one of my more favorite poems. If I could catch a rainbow, I would do it just for you and share with you its beauty all the days you're feeling blue. If I could build a mountain you could call your very own, a place to find serenity, a place to be alone. If I could take your troubles, I would toss them in the sea. But all these things I'm finding are impossible for me. I cannot build a mountain or catch a rainbow fair, but let me be what I know best, a friend who's always there. We at Home Choice Network would like to give you all a hug and wish all your days to be cheerful and happy. And it's been a pleasure to have some time with you folks today. Thank you and have a great day.